Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be episode 2 of Codex Analysis Craftworlds Eldar, taking a look at the unique HQ / named characters, whatever you wish to call them. We've got a lot to cover here, so I'm not going to mess around with big long intros. If you have missed the previous episode, however, looking at the warlord traits, relics, rules, psychic powers, make sure to check the link in the description for the Eldar playlist or the Codex Analysis playlist, and you can have a look at them there. Because I'm not going to go into the psychic powers again here, you'll have to look that up there, and the same possibly with the warlord traits. There's not much war gear issue here in terms of relics. They don't use the Codex relics, they'll use their own. So, let's get started. First up, Eldrad Ulthran, High Farseer of Ulthwé, 195 points, which in my opinion is very, very cheap. So, he's weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, pretty average, slightly above average maybe for Eldar. Strength 3, toughness 4, definitely above average for Eldar. 3 wounds, initiative 5, 1 attack, leadership 10, and no armor save. Doesn't mean no save, means no armor save. He is an infantry character, and he is of course unique. He is armed with a shuriken pistol. This is basically a bolt pistol with rending, but they can't call it rending because that affects vehicles. So what it is a strength 4 AP 5 12-inch range pistol with the Blade Storm special rule. Forgot the name for a second there. Blade Storm, which means that on a 6, it wounds regardless of toughness and is AP 2, so it's basically rending. So he's got a pseudo-rending pistol. He has a Witchblade, although he has a better close combat weapon, which we'll cover in a bit. A Witchblade is a Fleshbane, Armorbane close combat weapon that does basically nothing else. It's strength user, AP nothing. He also has a Ghost Helm. Now, this is quite a cool piece of war gear. This allows you to negate any unsaved wound from perils of the warp by discharging a warp charge point. So the long and short of this means if you perils and you take one of the, I think, 4, maybe 5 results that can result in you suffering a wound, if you have a warp charge spare, you get rid of a dice and you don't take the wound. This means you can be very callous with Eldrad, and considering his other rules, which we'll come to a little bit later, you'll really come to understand why. His warlord trait is an eye on distant events. This gives D3 units in your army scout and is very, very good. I think it's a really nice one. He has Ancient Doom and Battle Focus, see the last episode for that. He has Fleet, he's an independent character. He has Runes of the Farseer, which means that he gets 1 basic full reroll per psychic phase. So he can reroll 1 failed cast value or 1 failed Deny the Witch per psychic phase. I'll double check if that's once per phase or once per player turn or once per general turn. I assume it will mean you'll get 1 reroll in your own phase and 1 reroll, once in each psychic phase. Yep, so you can re-roll any number of dice used in a single Deny the Witch test or psychic test. You can actually use this to dodge perils. Again, see what I mean about being callous with the number of dice, because you have a re-roll if you overcook for perils. And re-rolls deny, considering you're a master level 4 Psyker, is pretty good. He also has... oh, where's it gone? I've not scrolled up high enough. He also has Mastery level 4. This is the best psychic level in the game, tied with, I believe, Ahriman, the Lord of Change, if you upgrade it. I'm not sure about Lords of Change. And maybe something else. Very few things in this game are Mastery level 4. As for his powers, he generates from Santic Demonology, nice. Divination, very nice. Runes of Fate, which we covered last time and are very powerful. And Telepathy. This means that you have access to Prescience and Invisibility and Eldritch Storm and Gate of Infinite? No, Vortex. Vortex of Doom. You have access to some ridiculous powers. And you're level 4, so you'll probably, at least if you specialise in one discipline, you'll probably get all of them. So, yeah, look out. His relics, one is the Armour of the Last Rune. This is a 3+ invulnerable save. So you have no armour save, but you have a 3+ invul. Very, very nice. The Staff of Ulthamar is his other relic. This is his other weapon. This is Strength User AP 3 Fleshbane. With Force, it's a melee weapon, although it has a 3+ next to the melee. I'm assuming that's a typo? Accident? Not sure. Anyway, he has a rule called Spirit Link. And this means that whenever he passes a psychic test, on a 5+, you get a warp charge point. So not only does this mean you can keep casting for a little bit longer, but it also means that you get basically free perils insurance. So let's say you go for a psychic test and you pass it with a perils. You've used up your reroll earlier, so you have no chance of dodging it, you just perils. You then roll a d6 on a 5 up, you get a warp charge point. That means that if you suffer a wound from perils, you spend that free warp charge point to negate the wound. So on a 5+, you have Perils Insurance, which is pretty nice, and it's a force weapon as well, remember that. Overall, I think Eldar is just undercosted, because a Mastery Level 4 Psyker with a 3+ invulnerable save, the only thing he's actually missing is Eternal Warrior. If he had Eternal Warrior, he'd be broken. Absolutely broken. But he has 4 powers, can reroll 1 cast and deny every single phase. He has Battle Focus and Fleet. He has a good Warlord trait. He has a Ghost Helm, which combos really well with his staff, which is free, Perils Insurance. He has a reasonable gun, and he has a melee weapon if you wish to use it, although with 1 attack I would never get him into melee. Overall, I think Eldar needs to go up slightly in cost, although that puts him on the level of the Phoenix Lords. Quite frankly, he is on the level of the Phoenix Lords, so I don't care. Put him up in cost, please. Next up, we have Prince Uriel, 140 points of goodness. Weapon skill, Ballistic skill 6, these are good Eldar combat stats. Strength and toughness 3, bit of an issue. 4 wounds, for some reason. Initiative 7, 4 attacks, leadership 10, 3+ armor from his heavy aspect armor. He also has a 4+ invulnerable save provided by his force shield. Infantry with plasma grenades. This is his only ranged weapon. And plasma grenades don't function like, say, frag grenades. They're not assault grenades that can be thrown. They're literally just throwables. 8-inch range, strength 4, AP 4, assault 1. Don't think they had blast. I'll double check to see if they had blast. Plasma grenade, plasma grenade. Nope, it doesn't even have blast. So it's a throwing grenade. It can be used in melee as well at strength 4, AP 4. And in its thrown form... Oh, it is blast. Sorry, it is blast. It has a strength 4, AP 4, 8-inch range blast. My bad. Sorry. So, yep. Not a bad shooting weapon. It's just got a terrible range, but then again, it's Uriel. You'll be getting him into combat more than likely. So, he's pretty tough. The only thing, again, I think he's missing is Eternal Warrior. I'll double check he doesn't have that. He does not. His Warlord trait is one of the best in the army, Ambush of Blades, which is really, really powerful. Ancient Doom, Battle Focus Fleet, Independent Character, and the Path of Command, which is a Autarch-specific rule, because he's an Autarch, which means he gets +or-1 to his reserve rolls, and you pick unit by unit. At least that's how I read it. So how it reads, I'll read it to you word for word, is... If your army contains 1 or more Autarch/Autarch Skyrunners, you can modify any of your reserve rolls by +1 or -1, choose separately after each roll is made. So yeah, you can modify any of your reserve rolls by +or-1 depending on if you need it, which is pretty damn good, because it allows you to bring some units in on a rush and keep some units out. So Uriel's pretty well balanced, and in combat, he's a monster. So his first relic is the Eye of Wrath. This is a 1-use only in the fight sub-phase, provided he's not in a challenge. He can make a special attack at his initiative step of 7 instead of making any close combat attacks. So you give up your weapon, which I'll talk about in a moment. And it says, center a large blast marker over Prince Uriel. All units suffer a number of strength 6, AP 3 hits equal to the number of models under the template, excluding Uriel, from their own unit, of course. This hits friends and foes, but only unsaved wounds caused to enemy units will count towards combat resolution. So if you're on your own, you can drop a little nuke and kill a bunch of stuff. And if you're in a mixed combat where you need to just swing it by causing a large amount of casualties and you don't think that your units will be able to, just drop this little nuke, kill a few enemy guys instead of attacking, and it costs you a few of your guys, but if it's enough to swing combat resolution, it might be enough. However, your alternate is to use the Spear of Twilight. This is your melee weapon. It is Strength User AP 3, melee, Fleshbane and Armorbane, so it's very good at killing stuff. 2+ to wound AP 3. But it also has a rule called Cursed. When locked in combat, Prince Uriel must reroll saving throws over 6. It's only in close combat, but it may just mean you get one-shotted by that Power Axe, because it says saving throws, not armor saves, saving throws, which means your force shield as well. So this could be a problem if you get whacked with a Power Axe or Strength 6 weapon in melee. It doesn't matter at range, but I think it's better to use that than the Eye of Wrath unless you are absolutely surrounded. Although that strength, it's still only winning on 2's AP3 in many cases. Uriel is good. Thing is, Farseers and Eldrad are just much better, which is the problem. Next up, we have Illic Knight Spear, Walker of the Hidden Path, the Ranger character, 140 points again. Weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 9. If this guy misses, then how? Strength and toughness 3, 3 wounds, initiative 6, 3 attack, leadership 10, and a 5+ save from his mesh armor. He has no invuln at all, so be very, very careful with him. He has a shuriken pistol, again, but you'll never be using it, and a power sword. So he's got a pseudo-rending pistol if you need it, and of course this power sword, which you'll probably never want to use. His warlord trait is split by a mark the incomparable hunter, and it's pretty good, although not amazing. It has a use though, it does have a use, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. His special rules: Ancient Doom, Michael, Battle Focus, Fleet, Hatred of Necrons and Preferred Enemy Necrons, Independent Character, Infiltrate, Move Through Cover, and also Shrouded. This is very, very good. He also has a rule called Sharp Shot, which means that his attacks that are not stab shots are always precision shots. So don't move, you are precision shooting, and this applies to his entire unit if he's a unit of Rangers because of the Master of Pathfinders rule. So if Illic joins a unit of Rangers, they all get Sharp Shot, so everybody's precision shooting. The last trick with Illic is the Walker of the Hidden Path. If he deploys using the Infiltrate special rule, which he can be deployed anywhere on the battlefield outside of impassable terrain, regardless of enemy proximity. If you begin with a unit of Rangers, all Rangers in that unit also benefit from this, meaning you can set him up literally anywhere and then snipe somebody's face off with the Voidbringer. This is a 48-inch range sniper, Strength X, AP 2, Heavy 1, Sniper, so 6 is AP 2, but you get that anyway, and Void Shot. So when rolling to win for this weapon, a roll of a 6 is instant death rather than, it causes a wound with the instant death special rule. It's not like you die if I roll a 6. When making an armor penetration roll, a roll of a 6 is a penetrating hit regardless of armor value. This is why Split Fire has a purpose here, because you can split him off from his unit of Rangers, just ping at a vehicle, try and roll a 6. If you miss, no worries, whilst your unit carries on precision shooting everything else. But the best thing here is the fact that it's a sniper that's AP 2, and if you roll a 6, it's instant death. It's a pretty powerful gun, but the problem is with Illic is the same as with Uriel, except it's even further amplified because he's flimsy as hell. You'll never make him your Warlord, so you'll never get use of the Warlord trait because he's too flimsy, and he's not a Farseer or Eldrad, so you generally don't see him getting used, which is a shame. But I think Illic's cool, and I really quite like his model. Anyway, now we move on to some of the coolest individuals in the entire Eldar army, the Phoenix Lords. Before we start the Phoenix Lords section, I should put a disclaimer. I am a massive fan of the Phoenix Lords, so there may be a little bit of personal bias here into how powerful I think they are. So remember, I am judging in a vacuum, at least initially, and obviously some units are stronger than these guys in combination, but if I do get a bit carried away with myself, then I apologise, I'll try and rein it in. Anyway, let's start with the Phoenix Lord, shall we? First off, Asurman, Hand of Asuryan, 220 points, which is the most expensive character we've covered so far, and as far as I'm aware, the most expensive Phoenix Lord. Joint most expensive Phoenix Lord, I'll rephrase that. Don't know why he's more expensive than Eldrad, because Eldrad is ludicrous on Dosed, but hey, what can you do? So, he is Weapon Skill Ballistic Skill 7, Strength and Toughness 4, Wounds 3, Initiative 7, 4 attacks, Leadership 10, and a 2+ save. As far as I'm aware, every single Phoenix Lord bar 1 shares that stat line, and the only variant of that stat line is 1 point of strength on Fugan. So, if you forget a Phoenix Lord's stat, it's 2 7s, 2 4s, 3 7, 4 10, 2 up. The only change is Fugan being Strength 5. So, Asurman is infantry, he's a unique character, and he has Phoenix Armor, which is basically just a 2+ save, no invulns here. He also has a twin-linked Avenger Shuriken Catapult, which is kind of like a Rending Stormbolter. So it's 18-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, assault 2, and it's also got the Blade Storm pseudo-rending effect. And it's twin-linked, which means it's basically never going to miss because your ballistic skill 7, which is 3s rerolling to 5s, you should never miss with this thing. You also have plasma grenades for use in both melee and at range, but to be honest, 1 small blast versus 2 shots, it's kind of debatable at 8-inch range, so up to you. His special rules: Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Counter Attack, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Fleet, and Independent Character. I think pretty much everybody has all of those with the exception of Counter Attack, which I believe is his Dire Avenger trick. He also has a rule from the Dire Avengers called Defense Tactics. Now, this normally has 2 bonus hit options, but in this case it's basically only 1. So what it does, as soon as I find the Dire Avengers page, Rangers, Dire Avengers, here we go. So what it does is, when chosen the target of a charge, a unit that consists entirely of models with this special rule, so you have to put a Sermon into a Dire Avengers unit to make this realistically work, can either choose to fire Overwatch at Ballistic Skill 2, or gain Counterattack and Stubborn until end of phase, at the cost of firing Overwatch. Bear in mind, you already have Counterattack with a Sermon, and you're fearless because of a Sermon. So a Sermon in a unit of Dire Avengers has Ballistic Skill 2 Overwatch all the time, which is quite a nice little benefit. I mean, it's not life-changing, but a bonus is a bonus. So, what else? He has Shield of Grace, which is a 4+ invulnerable save, which in a challenge actually increases to a 3+. And he also has Hand of Asayan. A Sermon is pretty much the only named character with no locked Warlord trait, I think. That's because he has D3 of them. So when determining Warlord traits, he always has D3 traits from the Warlord traits table in Codex Craftworlds, which we covered last time, re-rolling duplicates that you might get. Pretty powerful. I mean, as I said when I did the review last time, I think there's probably 2 to 4 really good ones, although Split Fire is worse on a Sermon because you'll be putting him in Dire Avengers to make the most of him, so pretty good as a little option. His Remnant of Glory is the Sword of Asur. This is his melee weapon. It is a Strength +1 AP2 master-crafted melee weapon. It also has a rule called Soul Razor. So when a model suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds from the Sword of Asur, it must pass a separate leadership test for each wound suffered or be removed from play. Not suffer a wound with instant death, not be removed as a casualty, not etc. It's removed from play. You're gone. There's nothing you can do about it. And this is a master-crafted weapon skill 7 weapon that is basically Strength 5 AP2, unless you get another bonus somewhere, at Initiative 7, with 4 attacks base, 5 on the charge. If this hits you, you're in a lot of trouble. This is a challenge winner, straight up, and you've got 3+ invuln on a challenge in case they do survive it. Obviously, Leadership 10 stuff, not so bad, but if you're taking 2 or 3 wounds on a monster that's Leadership 10, there's still an odd chance it'll die, and if you've got a low Leadership, well, stuff you. Leadership 9 Orc War Boss, anything less than Leadership 9 is going to have problems with this. So a Sermon's very, very strong. Is he 25 points more than Eldrad? No. Sorry, Eldrad's undercosted. Oops, hang on a minute. There we go. So, Jane Zar, Storm of Silence, 200 points. If this girl works, she is broken. Let me explain. So she's got the Phoenix Lord stat line, 2 7s, 2 4s, 3 7, 4 10, 2+. She's infantry, unique character with Phoenix armor, and the Warlord trait Falcon Swiftness. This gives her +3 inches to her run moves. And she also has a special rule called Acrobatic, which is for the Howling Banshees. If a unit consists entirely of models with Acrobatic, they get another 3 inches to their run moves. Bearing that in mind, Jane Zar's run move is basically 6 + D6, which in the detachment is basically 12. She does not have run and charge, but if she did, she'd be broken, because Acrobatic also gives +3 inches to charge moves. She also has got Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Eternal Warrior, Fearless Fleet, Independent Character, and she causes fear. Not that you care, for a reason I'll come to. So, special rules. War Shout. Enemy units in combat with a model with this special rule are at -2 leadership. Good for fear checks. Disarming Strike. Ooh. Before rolling to hit whilst in a challenge, Jane Zar can choose to nominate one of her opponent's melee weapons. Her opponent counts as not being equipped with that weapon until end of phase. If you do this, you lose 1 attack on Jane Zar. Holy crap. The only person this basically doesn't stop is Abaddon, because he's got Draconian and the Talon. Most dudes only have 1 good melee weapon. Not many have 2. So, yeah, I'll take -1 attack and I'll make you completely sodding useless. Even against sergeants with power axes, it's enough. It's enough. But it gets even better. Her 2 relics are as follows. The Mask of Jane Zar. Screw this weapon. Models cannot fire Overwatch against Jane Zar or a unit she has joined. Ow. And enemy models within 6 inches of Jane Zar are at -5 weapon skill and initiative. 5. Okay? So you have to be weapon skill 9 not to hit on 5s. Before fear checks, which are at -2 leadership for. And you have to be initiative 13 to strike first against her. Seeing as you can't have a stat past 10, she will always go first. And of course you can't Overwatch her, which is the main way I think to take her out. Alright, fine, I'll just use Overwatch and thin her down a bit. No. And on top of all of that, she has 2 weapons. Silent Death, which is a ranged attack. Well, basically it's 1 weapon, Death and Destruction, but it has 2 profiles. Silent Death is a 12-inch range, strength user, which is 4, AP2 assault 4 weapon. So that's basically the Smite Psychic Power, shooting attack. And her melee weapon, its melee profile, is strength user, aka 4, AP2, melee, shred. So if this girl gets anywhere near you, and I mean anywhere near you because she has a 2d6 plus 3-inch charge move, you are. Initiative probably is 1. Weapon skill is 1. You cannot fire Overwatch. You've taken 4 strength for AP2 shots, and she's got at least 3, if not 4 or 5 AP2 rerolls to wound melee attacks, and she's disarmed your melee weapon in a challenge. Oh, and on top of that, she's also an Eternal Warrior with a 2+ save, fearless. Yeah. If Janezar lines up, and I mean it lines up for you, she'll wreck your opponent's entire army. She will completely wreck them. Because you can't counterattack her, because it's not weapon skill -5, initiative -5. When she charges, that's all the time. So you can't just launch a counter assault, because she and her banshees will be going first anyway. You want to shoot her? Fine. But good luck getting through flipping all of that and keeping her dead. And if you want to try and Overwatch to finish her off, no, can't do that. If Janezar lines up, you win. She's that good. But getting her to line up is going to be ridiculously hard in this close combat nerfed meta. Excuse me. Next up, Karandras. 200 points for the Shadow Hunter. Same stat line, 2 7s, 2 4s, 3 7, 4 10, 2+. He has Phoenix Armor, Plasma Grenades, and 2 unique, well not unique weapons because they're for all striking Scorpions. Scorpion Chainsword and Scorpion's Claw. The Scorpion Chainsword is basically a chainsword. It's strength 4, AP 6. Melee weapon, nothing special about it at all. I think I'll double check right now. D Scorpion Chainsword. Where are you? Yeah, +1. Oh, sorry, +1 strength, AP 6 melee. So here's the bare minimum of strength 5, AP 6 melee attack. The Scorpion's Claw has 2 profiles, 1 for ranged, 1 for close combat. And at range, it is a, where's it gone? 12-inch range, strength 4, AP 5, assault 2, blade storm. So it's a slightly weaker version. It's basically a shuriken catapult, which is what a lot of dudes have. 2 shots, strength 4, AP 5 with the 6s to wound or AP 2, strike 12-inch range. Pretty good considering you'll be on the move. And in melee, it's a power fist that strikes at initiative. So times 2 strength, AP 2 melee. Which, if you're initiative 7, as Karandras actually is, then yeah, good luck. So he's strength 8, AP 2. In terms of his rules, he has Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Fleet, Independent Character, Infiltrate, Move Through Cover, Night Vision, Stealth, and Shadow Strike. This is a rule for infiltrating. If a unit composed entirely of models with Shadow Strike infiltrates, they get shrouded until they attack, basically. Until they fight in close combat, or shoot, including firing Overwatch. So you have got shrouded on your unit if you infiltrate until you do something other than move, but you have stealth all the time anyway. But you won't be infiltrating. He has Hunter's Strike. If Karandras is held in reserve, and you can choose to do so, he automatically arrives at the start of your second turn. When he arrives, he can move on from any table edge, and if he's with a unit of striking Scorpions with no other characters, all models in that unit can do this with him as well. This is extremely powerful because it means you can just walk on right next to your opponent and say, "Hi, have a nice day." His Warlord trait is Ambush of Blades if you use him as your Warlord, which is ridiculously powerful. But you've got to really line this one up with where he arrives, because if you don't deploy him, he'll be coming on your turn 2 anywhere you want, but he'll be on a corner, and unless your army's already rushed up, then using Ambush of Blades quickly might be a problem, and Karandras in his unit might accidentally get swamped / shot to bits before you get another chance. However, he's not done there. He has a remnant, a relic, the Scorpion's Bite. So in the fight subphase at the start of the initiative 10 step, i.e. when you do Hammer of Wrath, roll a d6. On a result of a 2+, an enemy unit engaged with Karandra suffers a single wound with no armor saves allowed. If in a challenge, this must be the opponent in the challenge. If you are a Gargantuan, you take a wound with no armor saves on a 4+ instead of a 2+. So this is basically a free ping at the start of a challenge, which, considering like pinning off sergeants, that's all it needs to do. It's like, oh, you threw a sergeant in the way. No, bang, dead. You may as well not bother doing that with sergeants because you may as well attack. But just for combat overspill, for combat res, you understand. But if you're trying to weaken a monster, this is how you do it. You just say, right, 2+, you lose a wound. Now I'll attack you with my initiative 7 power fist at weapon skill 7 with 4 attacks. Let's see how you like that. And then my guys, assuming because you're a monster you're on your own, will then get to attack you as well. And their Exarch might have Scorpion's Claw too, and he'll hit you with another initiative power fist. And then you're probably dead. Goodbye. Nasty. Harder one to pull off because it's all about stealthy sneaky, but it's pretty useful. Next up is the other expensive Phoenix Lord, Fugan. He costs 220 points, which is the same cost as a Sermon, which I think is probably fair. I mean, he does do a lot of stuff, I'll tell you that much for nothing. So, same stat line, except as I mentioned earlier, he is strength 5, so 7, 7, 5, 4, 3, 7, 4, 10, 2+. Infantry character, with the Warlord trait that gives him split fire. He has Phoenix armor, melter bombs, and a fire pike. Now, fire pike sounds really cool. It's basically a Tau fusion blaster, 18 inch range, strength 8, AP 1, assault 1, melter. It's a powerful gun, don't argue that, but it's not guaranteed to be that ridiculous. What is ridiculous, however, is the special rules. So he has Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Fleet, Independent Character, as always. He has Feel No Pain, which, considering he has Eternal Warrior, makes him extremely annoying to kill. And he also has 3 other rules. Assured Destruction is the Fire Dragon rule. This gives you +1 on the vehicle damage table. I believe as long as your entire unit has the special rule. I will quickly double check. Oh no, it's all models with a special rule, so Fugan could be in any unit and he'll still get that, which, given the fact that he uses split fire, is probably for the best. He also has Crack Shot. This means that he gets 1 reroll to hit, wound, or penetrate armor every single turn. This is pretty powerful, because you can use it in combination with melter bombs, you can use it in combination with a 2+2 wound on your fire pike. If you do somehow miss with it, because your ballistic skill 7, you can re-roll. You only get 1 re-roll per turn, so you can't use it in ranged and melee or in more than one place, but it's still good. Finally, he has Unquenchable Resolve. This is hilarious. At the end of any phase in which Fugan suffers 1 or more unsaved wound, his strength and attacks increase by 1 for each wound lost. These last for the rest of the game. This means that at 0 wounds, he's strength 5 with 4 attacks. When he's taken a wound, he is strength 6 with 3 attacks. If he's on 1 wound, he is strength 7 with 6 attacks. Admittedly, this is high risk, high reward, but it does mean that you can get caught in a couple of hits, still get more powerful, as long as you get him in a position where you can then look out the rest of the wounds. Putting him at the front might actually not be a terrible idea. His melee remnant is the Fire Axe, which is strength user, AP 1, melee, armor bane, which of course means that as his strength goes up, the armor bane power goes up with it. From strength 5, then 6, then 7, then he's dead. So be careful of Fugan. Is he worth the same as a Sermon? Don't know. The fact he's so good at killing tanks and has split fire probably means he has to have it with Crack Shot, Fire Pike, Assured Destruction, Melter Bombs, Phoenix, the Fire Pike, Mark of being a Parable Hunter, and the boost to his strength, and the Fire Axe. He probably does have to have that higher cost. But is he as much as a Sermon? I'm not sure. He is very, very powerful though. Next up, Baharoth, Swooping Hawk Dude. Finding this guy's war gear is a pain in the butt. He's 170 points, standard Phoenix Lord stats. He's jump infantry, with Phoenix armor, Haywire grenades, which is cool, plasma grenades, a grenade pack, Swooping Hawk wings, and a Hawk's Talon. Despite the name, a Hawk's Talon is actually a gun. It's an upgrade to the standard Las Blaster used by Swooping Hawks. It's not that amazing, I will be honest. It's strength 5, AP 5, 3 shots with, I believe, with a 24 inch range. So 24, 5, 5, 3 shots. Assault 3, I should say. Not bad, but not ridiculous. We've already mentioned the haywire grenades and the plasma grenades. So he also has, hang on, that's vehicle upgrades, I've overshot a touch, a Swooping Hawk wings. So this gives you jump, as you'd expect, but if a unit composed entirely of models equipped with wings uses its jump packs in the movement phase, you get an 18-inch move instead of 12, which means that you basically get a free 6-inch run all the time, which is really, really powerful for getting around the board. Furthermore, the unit could choose to sky leap instead of moving in the movement phase as long as it did not arrive from reserves that turn and is not locked in either combat or in falling back. It is removed from the board and goes into ongoing reserve, so basically you get to teleport around the board a lot, which is a good way to A, keep yourself safe from shooting, and B, utilise the grenade pack. So the grenade pack is used when you enter play by Deep Strike and don't mishap. One model in the unit can make a single shooting attack in the movement phase with this profile. This does not stop it firing in the shooting phase, but it must target the same target unit if at all possible. So if you've got a shorter range gun, then, well, okay. If you have no line of sight after you land, okay. Because the grenade pack has 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 4, assault 1 barrage, blast, ignores cover, and sky burst. This means it does not need line of sight. If the unit consists of at least 6 models with a grenade pack, however, the attack is large blast instead of small blast. This is why it's so useful in a unit of Swooping Hawks rather than just Baharoth bombing around on his own. Because it's a barrage blast that ignores cover, it is AP 4, and strength 4. It's not ridiculous, but with Baharoth's high ballistic skill, it will always hit, and can be a pie plate if you have a unit. Good for thinning out hordes, must say. And you can then use the Hawk's Talon, which combos really well with the grenade pack, to just continue to pile on the hurt. And with an 18-inch move, if you aren't able to boost off, or don't want to boost off and use the thingamajigs, it's still pretty powerful either way. But he is cheaper, and there's a reason for that, and that's his flimsiness, primarily. So, as soon as I get back to the Baharoth's page, he has Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Fleet, Hit and Run, Independent Character, and a rule called Herald of Victory. This will be a Swooping Hawk rule, because they all have a rule associated with their aspect in their rules, and they don't put them on their page. They put them on the Aspect Warriors page. So, Herald of Victory, you don't scatter. You don't scatter when you come in from Deep Strike, which means you'll never suffer a mishap, which means you can always use your grenade pack. He also has an extra rule called Sun's Brilliance. When he enters play from Deep Strike, all enemy units within 6 inches must take a blind test. Models that are immune to blind, such as guys with black sun filters in Tau, are immune to this rule. So basically, Baharoth's plan is come in, jump down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And grenade pack you all the time, teleport around the board, shoot you some bit, survive for a bit, and then survive your opponent's turn, and then bounce and go and do it again. You'll only get to pull this off a maximum of 3 times. But it's hilarious. And if you can pull it off, it's hilarious. It's brilliant. His warlord trait is Falcon Swiftness, plus 3 to run, so you might actually want to keep him on the board because you've got an 18-inch move and then a 9-inch run. Assuming you're not planning to charge, then you'll go bloody far. His remnant is the Shining Blade. This is a power weapon with blind. This will be why Baharoth is weaker. He doesn't have an AP2 melee weapon, whereas I think every other Phoenix... almost every other Phoenix Lord has an AP2 melee weapon. Baharoth is only AP3, but it does cause blind, so where that's relevant, just remember it exists. Baharoth is weaker, which is why he's cheaper, but he's not bad at all for a Phoenix Lord. And finally I have Malgan Ra. He costs 195, which is an awkward number, and he has the same stat line again, 2 7s, 2 4s, 3 7, 4 10, 2 up. He's infantry, he has Phoenix armor, and his special rules are as follows. Ancient Doom, Battle Focus, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Fleet, Hatred Demons, Independent Character, and Night Vision. His warlord trait is Split Fire, and he has 1 extra special rule related to his gun. So Malgan Ra can fire the Malgatar twice in each shooting phase, either at the same target or at 2 different targets. So with Split Fire, this means your Dark Reaper's unit can target 3 things a turn, technically. As for the Malgatar itself, well, watch out. It's a 36-inch, it's 2 profiles for ranged, 1 for melee. 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 5, assault 4, rending. That's just a good gun. Its alternate fire mode is strength 1, AP 5, with pinning, poison 2+, and rending, as well as the rule Biocataclysm. So if a non-Vehicle model is slain as a result of this attack, center a pie plate over that model before you kill it. Units suffer a number of strength 5 AP 4 hits equal to the number of models under the marker. These hits have ignores cover. So the entire plan with the Shrieker ammo is to ping off a dude. A random dude, particularly if they've got bad saves, this will be dead easy because you're hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. Or maybe if you can roll a 6, you'll kill something a little bit stronger, and then create an AP4 pie plate to just do some more damage, and bear in mind it's also pinning. And you can fire this weapon twice. It doesn't say you can change fire modes, but I'd reckon you can pick either fire mode whenever you want, so you can easily thin the hordes, get to the guy you want to pick him off, and then explode. In melee, it's a +2 strength power weapon, which takes it up to being a strength 6 power sword, which is pretty damn good. So Malgan Ra, he has no gimmicky extra rule like the other Phoenix Lords, which is interesting, but he's pretty powerful, and the only guy that matches up to this guy in terms of versatility is probably a Sermon, because Malgan Ra can shoot anything that's not a vehicle and will kill it. He can combat anything that's not a Terminator and kill it, and at strength 6 he can also threaten vehicles at range and in melee. A Sermon can't handle vehicles, so Malgan Ra is better against vehicles than a Sermon, better against infantry than Fugan, and I think Malgan Ra's just good. I thought he'd be 200 like the others, but he's not for some reason. And that is the last of the Phoenix Lords, and thus we arrive at the end of the video. I know that took a while to get through basically 10 characters, but hopefully you can see how they all function. In terms of my overall thoughts, Eldar is undercosted. He needs to be more expensive because he's a level 4 Psyker with the most powerful disciplines in the game, and he's also very, very good at casting and staying alive and not perilsing and denying. He just needs a bit of a cost boost, and he also has a 3+ invulnerable save. Have fun. The only thing that saves him is no Eternal Warrior. Uriel and Illic are good, but you'd be using up a HQ slot when generally you'll be taking as many fast heals as you can count. The Phoenix Lords have the same problem, but they're powerful enough in their own right, synergize really well with their aspects, and are generally quite just awesome. Personally, I think if you want an all-rounder, you go for a Sermon. If you want close combat, you go for Jane Zar. You basically fit their themes. Jane Zar is a beast. If you can pull Jane Zar off, you'll win the game. Straight up. If you can pull Fugan off, you'll win the game, because he'll kill a tank, and if it's a vehicle squadron, he'll shoot one, charge another, blow them all up. And he has split fire, so his fire dragons can kill another one. Madness. Malgan Ra is a good anti-infantry killer, and can also handle some things in melee that get up close, though you won't be wanting to get Dark Reapers anywhere near the face. Baharoth is a nuisance, a colossal nuisance. He's not powerful, realistically, at least not by the standards of a Phoenix Lord, he's not powerful, but he's still pretty damn strong as a leader of your army. The only thing he's lacking is a bit of AP too. Fugan, awesome. Karandras is going to require a little bit of finesse to pull off, but if it works, holy crap. A Sermon is your all-rounder. If you're not really sure how to use a Phoenix Lord, use a Sermon, because that's what Dire Avengers do. And if you're making a shooty army, Malgan Ra, a Sermon creates a block of Dire Avengers with Ballistic Skill 2 Overwatch, and then Malgan Ra over the top just lambasts everything with rockets, because that's what Dark Reapers do. I forget their stat lines right now, but if they're AP3, oh dear god, that's terrifying. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I do hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did, let me show... can't get my words out at the end of the video. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and you have any comments, leave them down below. Next time, we're taking a look at the unnamed HQs. The Autarch, the Farseer, and the Warlock Conclave. I think, is that it? No, we also have the Spirit Seer. So we've got 4 things to do. Oh, yeah, 4 things to do in the next video. I do hope you can join me next time for that. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. Until the next time, see you all again. Bye for now.